I don't like to go to school when I'm on my cycle because I don't have the right sanitary pads. So sometimes I smell bad and I find it very embarrassing. But there is really nothing I can do. My parents do not have money to get me what I need for my cycle. So I must make a choice to either go to school or stay home until I stop my period. Unfortunately, when I stay home, it is hard to catch up with the other students. People laugh at me sometimes and don't want to sit near me. It's so hard for me. It is so challenging. I would do anything to have everything that I need to take care of myself, during my cycle. That will be so wonderful. That will be so wonderful. My pleasure to welcome you to another episode of Ntomodo. Ntomodo is Igbo Nigerian word that means words of wisdom that I share with you to add to your repertoire. I'm the Ambassador Dr. Osimiri, and I am your host today. It is my pleasure and honor to have you here today. As you can hear from the young girl, at least the voice of the young girl in that video, she's talking about something that's so sad. You know, many of us take for granted this whole, as women now, as girls, maybe we have the opportunity to have parents who could provide for us and give us the opportunity to be able to go to school and not have to worry about being on our periods because we had pads and things of that nature. But there are some children all over the world in some areas where there is no such thing, where people don't have access to pads. Young kids don't have access to pads. And it's very, very tragic. And that is why today we want to introduce to you a powerful program that the African Women Mobilization Commission is doing, and that is to help these young girls, not only with providing them with the necessary pads that they need so that they can have wholesome periods. We're also going to talk about some of the other things that we have to do. And to help me today is Chioma Ibe. Chioma Ibe is the vice president of the African Women Mobilization Commission. So let me bring her in because she's going to help me with this conversation. And here she is. Hello, Chioma.
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me? How are you?
I'm fine.
How are you today?
I'm
can
fine.
You hear me? Excellent.
I can hear you very well.
I am. Okay. I am so. I just, Chioma, you saw that video of that young girl. There are so many things that she said there that is so disturbing. And you and I were, I'm sure we were fortunate. I didn't have to worry about those kinds of things growing up. It was readily available because my parents could afford it. Can you imagine when she says that she is embarrassed to go to school? Because when she goes to school, she smells. And when she smells, the kids don't want to be around her because she doesn't need the proper absorbency product that will help her to control her period. Tell me what your thoughts are on what this young woman has said. Go ahead.
Wow.
So what are your thoughts?
It's so pathetic, honestly. But I don't know. I think it's so pathetic. I think the society too has to get involved in all this. The society. Thank God that we are on it. We are really doing something about it. We are concerned about this situation on this girl's child issue. These teenagers.
Tell me what in particular tell me what in particular that you think is so exciting that we're doing to help. What in particular are you excited about?
We could help provide them with pads. We could help provide them with pads because there's nothing else we can do about it. We could help provide them with pads. Then we can also mentor them. Because it's not all about pads or menstrual problem. It's all about this child teenage issue. We can also mentor them, advise them, give them mentorship, advise them how to look at their environment. They should be aware of their environment where they are, because the process of them wanting to have pads, they don't get to see any pad. It might lure them to start having interest on men to provide this thing for them. And we should also let them know that they are the future of tomorrow. Whatever mistake they do now is really going to affect their future. So all these things, I think our organization should come in and then try to see how we can help mentor them, give them advice on how to comport themselves in the society, in the environment where they are, so that they can be useful to themselves in the future.
Yes. You know, there are several aspects of this. There are several things that we want to do as it pertains to the African Women Mobilization Commission. Let's just take one little thing, certain things one at a time. If you look at the group that we're trying to work with, you know, the mission of this particular program is called OMSI Girls Advocacy Promise, AGAP, a gap. And what's significant about that, the gap is there is a gap between how boys and girls are treated in the community, how the things that impact boys take precedence over things that impact girls. And this is very, very unfortunate. And because of it, things as simple as clean water, as simple as water for them to use to clean themselves in the school environment, there's a disparity. You know, a girl who's on her period certainly has to have access to water at home and indeed at school. You know, so when you have all these schools and they don't have running water, no system in place for the girls to take care of their needs while they're in the school environment, well, you understand that there is a gap there. There's no much interest there in what the girls need. So our advocacy promise is to promise the girls that we are going to change to the best of our ability. We are going to change, their ability to take care of themselves at home and indeed, at school. And so the mission of this program is to provide young girls with workshops. Okay, we want to, during those workshops and conferences, we are going to provide them with sanitary pads, you know, while they are learning other things that they need to learn about their becoming future women. Okay, so this group that we're working with are 13 to 16, ages 13 to 16. So we're going to be working on how to handle their bodies when they have their periods. That is such an essential thing because that's what keeps them from having any odors. All right. And of course, they cannot do that if they don't have access to clean water and if they don't have access to sanitary pads. So you can imagine how we may have to push the government, you know, to every school. Every school should actually have running water. There should not be a dearth of running water in schools if you take the girls into consideration, because they need that. You know, they need to be able to use the restroom, flush the toilet, need to be able to wash their hands and care for themselves in that manner. But you cannot really do a complete job if they don't have access to sanitary pads. So you're looking at a possibility of having schools, that stock sanitary pads, and we supply them with sanitary pads so that kids have access to those kinds of things. You know, of course, you always hope that when you put those things in there, that they will actually stay there and they are not subject to theft. But then, you know, nothing is guaranteed. Those are the kinds of things that we must take into consideration. Now, how to refrain from premarital sex. Okay, that's another thing uh, that children are pushed to do. You know, like you indicated earlier, you know, they get in the habit of trying to get men to give them opportunities, you know, so that they can have money. I can't even imagine little 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds having to do that sort of thing so that they can have access to pads. So that's really, really sad. Um, so the workshops and the conference will include that to let them know why it's really important to refrain. And believe it or not, a lot of these young girls have no idea that having sex will result in pregnancy. Believe it or not, some of them don't even know how babies are made. You see what I'm saying? They don't know that. So even what they do that provides them convenience, temporary convenience, they don't even know the long-term consequences. So they need to know that these workshops are very, very important. Okay. And also, we're going to helping the girls to understand that they are important in society. And how can they go about it? How, if you're in a society where so much emphasis is on the well-being of males, and the girls are not looked as equal to the male gender, you know, the girls tend to feel less than, and consequently, they don't speak up, and it becomes a cultural thing. You know, I can tell you some of the people when I've gone to Nigeria, Nigeria in particular, I can tell you how many times I've been in events where we got doctors and lawyers and engineers, and for some reason, they don't seem to act with any level of aggressiveness or assertiveness when they are in a room full of men. They immediately shrink into that role of less than, you know. So we need to talk to the girls how that it's okay for them to stand up for their rights, for them to stand up and speak for themselves. And also, the other thing is not just body odor does not come just from inability to have, you know, pads for their cycles. No, it also comes from not being clean. Now they don't have to be on the periods for them not to be clean. Sometimes it almost like they don't even smell, that they smell bad,
Yeah.
you
Yes,
know.
sometimes some of them even have those pads, but they don't even know when to change it. They could carry one pad for the whole day. Some of them, yeah.
Yes,
So that's
yes.
so while we're doing the workshop, we
What about
also we have to mentor them on hygiene. The hygiene aspect is very important. How to take care of themselves.
yes,
It's
yes,
not all about
that
giving them
is.
pads. You give them pads. Do they even know when to change the pads? Some don't even change their pads.
Go ahead, I'm listening. Talk.
Some don't even change their pads. So I think those are the things we have to factor in when we are giving them mentorship. We factor those, most importantly, hygiene. Hygiene. A lot of them does not know hygiene at all. They can't take care of themselves, wash themselves very well, know that when they're in their periods, they could take their bath minimum of twice a day. Very important.
I need you to continue with the conversation. I have somebody who
Okay.
who just contacted me, and I'm trying to get to them. So I'm
Okay.
going to take myself out now. I have you to continue to share your thoughts.
Okay. So this organization, OMSI, is going to be helpful, very, very helpful to the girl child. going to be very helpful because we are going to really, really do a lot of, put a lot of work in the workshopping, educating them on how to really take care of their body. Because whatever they learn now at this teenage age is what they're going to grow with. So this is the time to actually teach them how to handle their body, the hygiene aspect of their body, and let them know that their body is very, very important. And let them know that their body is very, very important. So whatever they do with their body now is, if they don't get it right now, is going to affect them when they grow up. Some smells does not even go off when you grow up. So it is now that they should start taking care of those smells, those odors, to prevent it, how to guide themselves so that they don't have that stigma of this person has odor. Because I've seen a lot of grown women who has odor, and this odor doesn't start from when they are already grown. It starts from this adolescent, this teenage age, and which is when they cannot properly take care of themselves hygienically.
Yes. And that's very true. I think the impact of these workshops, you cannot underestimate it, because you have a whole bunch of young people who, and quite frankly, the way they are is not because that's the way they are. It's because they don't know any better, and sometimes adults just ignore it. Well, comme ci, comme ça, that's just the way it is. But it's not the way it is. These children need to know what they're supposed to do. So one of the things that I'm excited about this program is that we are going to be guiding future women to become better women. Not accept what is as is, not accept what is as, okay, what are you going to do? You can always do something about it. Our girls deserve dignity and respect. You see, when they walk around in ignorance, right, they're taken advantage of. Things that they should know become like a big deal. Oh, really? I didn't know that. No, they should know it right from jump. They should know it. So these jobs, and in particular, the national director of OMSI is supposed to be on this show today, but she's not able to be here right now. She's traveling, and she's going to join us the halftime of this program. But the bottom line is this: the AGAP program is trying to ensure that these future women are prepared, okay, for the journey. Okay, because becoming a woman is, it's not like, and I'm not minimizing what it is to be a boy, but it's not like a boy. Boys grow up and, gradually they notice some of the changes in their body and all that. But the society, for the most part, embraces them just as they are, but it doesn't embrace girls just as they are. Okay, they find fault with them, which impacts the mental well-being of these girls, and which is why they shrink. And you can't shrink into greatness. We need to let them know you have no business shrinking. You need to be in front just like everybody else. But if you're not prepared, if you're weakened by ignorance, there's really not much you can do. So these empowering workshops, I'm so excited about it, because we're going to have professionals who are going to be talking to these kids. Now, the national director told me about the fact that they're going to be going to the IDPS camp, internally displaced people's camps. It's really bad there. It's so bad. Okay, now some kids have access to cloth. What do you do when you don't have access to cloth? What do you do then? You don't even have access to cloth. Can you imagine that? It's bad enough that you have to use cloth for such a time in your life. But when you don't even have that, you know what she says they do? They develop a lot of illnesses. They develop a lot of infection, because some of those kids, I know it sounds gross, I'm about to gross you out, but some of those kids, they have to dig a hole in the ground and sit over that hole so that they can drain. Can you imagine that this is 2023? Now think about that life for yourself. Think about that life for yourself. Think about that life for your daughter. Think about that life for your sister, your aunt, your mother. That's very difficult. So, but the bottom line is that this whole thing, this workshop that we're doing, is going to hopefully help us with that kind of thing. I have another video I want to play, and it has to do with um, the isolation that some of these young women feel when they don't have access to what they need. Okay. When I got this video, I don't know. I hope that it plays very well, because sometimes it seems like it's stalling. But I'm going to play it and see if it does well. Okay, so here we go.
I don't know what to say because all the time I have to hide from people because you feel bad about the way you are looking and you don't know what to do about it. Have you sometimes want to just move around without people staring at you as if you are a criminal? I am a growing girl and I really don't know what's going on with my body because sometimes I get infections because I'm not clean. If I cannot find water to clean myself properly, then I smell good. Or I cannot smell good. Sometimes I go to school and I pretend I'm in school, but I will hide behind the trees. Then when I get home, I tell my parents that I had a wonderful time in school. Sometimes the boys bother you to have sex with them. I know of many girls who have sex with boys, but they're too young to do that. But they do it. I don't want to do it. But that's the only way they will be your friend. I really need help. So much, so much.
Stopping.
Can
But I
you?
don't know. Did you pick up what she said? Did you pick up something that she said, how she hides? She tells her parents that she's in school, but she's not in school. She likes to hide, you know? And then when she gets home, she tells her parents, oh, I had a good day. She also talks about the fact that even in school, you know, young girls are they try to convince them to engage in premarital sex and all of that. It's got to be really difficult to be a young
Yes, and
child.
that she doesn't want to do it because she's too young to do that.
That's right.
Oh.
That's right. But that I think one of the things that really got me is the fact that she's not telling her family what's actually going on. You know, so it goes on because family is not, there's no family engagement. They don't know what's going on, you know, so it happens, it continues to happen, and nobody says anything, nobody does anything on her behalf. And so that's just a tragedy. So our workshops is going to be telling those kids, you know, you don't accept it just because, and you don't let anybody convince you to do anything you're not comfortable with. That's that peer pressure. It's really, really, and many of us don't realize when we send our children to school what they experience while they're in school. We think they're just going there to study. That's not all they do in school. When your eyes are not on your children, they are doing something beyond just going to school. And if nobody's telling them what's right and what's wrong, they will continue to do it. Understand what I'm saying? They will continue to do, or rather, they may be tempted to engage in something that, well, they don't know that it's not a good thing. It's just a way to get along with their friends. You see what I'm saying? If that's how I can make it, then I'll do it. So that's one of the powerful things that the workshop is going to help with, And these workshops are going to be quarterly, and they're going to be held in different states. I'm here in the United States, but the same need, there's still the same need here. There are many young people who really don't know how to take care of themselves, because nobody talks to them about it. And then you have some schools where it would have been a good thing to do, but they can't do it because the school district, the school system is saying, no, you can't do that. But then these children who need it are not benefiting from something that is so essential and so critical, you see. So that's going to be extremely helpful. And then let me tell you, it's not just the younger girls, the older girls themselves need help too. Now, before I go into the ages 16 and to 20, 17 to 20, the other thing is the workshops are going to be teaching those kids how to make good friends. How do you make good friends? How do you know who the good friends are? Sometimes loneliness will make you make the bad choices in terms of friends. You don't have any friends, you just want somebody to like you. So the first person who says, hey, I'll be your friend, yeah, you go along with it. Young kids do that. Young kids are so vulnerable because they like to belong. So we're going to be teaching them who your right friends are. See, your right friends will not encourage you to do bad things. Good friends don't encourage you to do bad things. Good friends tell you to stay away from trouble. Bad friends will, misery loves company. So if you have a miserable person, they're going to want you to be miserable right along with them. And that is not real friendship. Sometimes it's better not to have friends than have the wrong friends. So we're going to be talking about those kinds of things with these kids. So I'm really, really very excited about that. I'm going to take a quick break to promote the Ndumudu show.
Hello, my name is Brooke Baxter.
Okay.
I am the director of the Ndumudu show. We are excited to give for your viewing pleasure a hearty, informative, and entertaining weekly show. We interview exciting guests on our show, and we cover topics ranging from politics, health, inspirational, gender-specific, culture, and much more. Our host is Ambassador Dr. Yua Anyi Oha Osimiri. Do you have something exciting that you want to share? Perhaps a new award that you've received, your wedding, your work promotion, or anything of importance that you want to share? Visit www.drosimiri.com to schedule for an interview with Dr. Osimiri. A 30-minute interview is free without the bells and whistles, but you can select the addition of pre-taping reel, a promo ad. For your organization to play during the interview, overlay graphics for a presentation that makes your interview stand out and a copy of your interview. So, what are you waiting for? Visit www.drosimiri.com and schedule yourself or your organization for a very memorable show on the Ndumudu Show with Ambassador Dr. Yua Anyi Oha Osimiri.
I have two very exciting guests for next week, next Saturday. So if you want to be featured on the Ndumudu Show, by all means, get in touch with us. And go to Dr. Osimiri.com. Again, Dr. Osimiri.com, and find out a little bit more about how you can become one of my guests, Dr. Osimiri.com. You go in there and you will find out how you can become a member of the, well, you can be interviewed. I mean, we all have all kinds of fun things that we want to talk about, and I'm looking forward to being able to interview you and hear about it, all the good stuff that you're doing in your life. Call us or text us, email us, and let us know. www.drosimiri.com, and find out how you can be in this exciting show. Now let's continue. I talked, Chioma, I talked earlier. I talked about the fact that it's not just the younger kids that we need to talk about. They are older kids. No, not older kids, older people, older women, older young girls, who require some help as well. Okay. Oh, and then for our younger children, it's also important for them to eat properly. It kind of gets a little difficult for children to eat properly if the parents don't have the means to feed them properly. So sometimes they eat all kinds of junk. But those junk that we eat have long-term consequences. And so they need to, when young people need to know, if you live in Africa, you don't have to eat all these foreign packaged foods. There are lots of vegetables and fruits that grow naturally, and they need to know that those are healthier than indomie. A lot of people try to eat that indomie thing. That thing is poison. That thing causes cancer. But of course, anything that they take into the third world countries, if I may use that expression, they don't care what the consequences are, because your life is not important. So it's important for those kids to know that some of the things that are being, that it's standard everybody's eating, that no, those things are no good. So in the workshop, they're going to be able to see all the different things that grows naturally, that doesn't even require too much money, that it just requires you take the time and go and fish these things that grow naturally. You know what I'm saying? So that you don't have to feel that you're not eating, you don't have the right foods just because you don't have packaged foods from India, from China, from all these places, when there are natural things growing right there in the market that you could buy, things that are healthy for you. So we're going to be talking to them about those kinds of things. What are your thoughts about that proper eating habits? What are your thoughts on that? I think that is
it's very, very important. Very important. It also helps them in their growth anyway. It's very important to eat organic food.
Yes.
To eat organic food. And like in this part of the world where we are, Africa, Nigeria, is here, we have it. The processed food is even very expensive. This one that they import, it's not like it's cheaper. No, it's expensive. So these ones that we have here, that is even the advantage we have over those people that are not living in Nigeria, because we have to get ours directly from, we know the source. It's organic, pure organic, and it's helpful. It takes care of some ailments even without you knowing in the body. Takes care of some infections, some diseases without you even knowing. There are some leaves. All those leaves has what they do in the body. So we will, while mentoring them, we will also try to advise them to eat more of our locally food here. We'll let them know the importance of it. It's even more nutritious than this our locally made, this our local food here is better because it has more nutrients. It has more nutrients than processed food, packaged processed food. Are you there, Ma? Hello, Ma. Would you want to add something to what I've said?
I am so sorry. I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We're just having a terrible time with the internet service here. Hopefully, we'll stay. At least we have a few more minutes. There we go again. Chioma, I'm so sorry. You notice that we're having some challenges with the internet. It's not from your end. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Chioma, can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
It's not
I
from
can
your
hear you
end.
now.
It's
I
happening.
can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So we're
Okay.
just a little bit challenged. When I edit this video, we'll kind of take that part off. Okay. But like I was saying, when you talk about the older kids, we want not the older kids, the young adults, how their bodies. It's not just the little ones in information, but certainly the older ones need it as well. Prostitution.
Yes.
Okay, premarital sex, the prostitution, and that obviously is because of desperation. A lot of these people, now those people who come from homes that can provide for them, they tend not to get involved in this. But those who don't have family members who can help provide information to them for what they need, they have a tendency to get engaged in these kinds of behavior. And so our goal is to let them know what are the alternatives for them. Chioma, I've got to be honest with you. Sometimes they say people do what they have to do. What are you going to do? When the situation is so bad that you don't have alternatives, a lot of people do whatever.
Situations can be bad, but it shouldn't lead them to prostitution. Because prostitution on its own is more dangerous, will affect their life in future.
Yeah, but the thing
it has
is
a
that
lot
they don't know
of
that.
negative impact. So there are things I know back home here. I know that things are not really rosy. Yes, we all know that, but it does not mean that you should opt for prostitution. There are things like we could teach them skills too. I think is important.
That's right.
We could,
that's
yes, we could teach them skills too. So through that skills, they can be able to now handle themselves, learn, and then make money through that skills. So these are some of the things we are going to plant into. Yes, plant into the program. Well, when we are executing the program, we make sure we look for skills that they can participate in. Then involve them in those skills. It will help them. Because they don't need to. The alternative is not going to prostitution. Prostitution is not good. It's not good.
Yeah, it's not. And again, like I said earlier, circumstances drives them, but that's because they don't seem to have an alternative. I mean, it is such a massive problem. It is such a massive problem that it's going to have to, as a matter of fact, our goal is for a GAP program to be infiltrated into all the schools. You see what I'm saying? To have GAP presenters, and speak to these girls while they're in school, because you don't really need them to be, you can have some special workshops, but at the same time, we're going to have relationships with schools so that we can actually go to the schools while the kids are right there and talk to them about these things and take up about an hour of their time to speak to them about these things. So like you said earlier, if you can present them with alternatives, then they don't have any interest in doing prostitution. But the only way you're really going to be able to get in there and work with them is while they're in school, in the classroom.
It's true.
Where you can talk to them about it and then also offer them opportunities to do something different. So that's one of the things that I am excited about, is that a GAP is going to be in many schools, as many schools as possible, to speak to these girls while they are there and hopefully change some minds about some of the things that they can be doing. particularly these girls who are getting ready to become women. And of course, hygiene is important to them. We'll be talking about that. And also how to study. Many young girls don't know how powerful they are, how powerful their minds are, because they don't know how to study. You know, sometimes you think you lack capacity. It's not really that. It's just that you don't know how to study. When you have a book in front of you, what are you looking for? Studying involves knowing what the book is about. You just don't take a book and put it in front of you and start studying. It's good to go to the summary first. See what the book is about, right? And as you start reading it, you're going to start picking up on, oh, this is what I read in the summary. It starts to get interesting. A book is not interesting if you don't know how to read it. So we're going to be talking to them about how to study, what to look for when you're studying. Not rote learning. Rote learning is a wasted exercise. A lot of our young people like to memorize. You know what I'm saying? When you memorize something, you forget it. You forget it means nothing. You're just memorizing it to pass an exam. But we don't want them to just pass an exam. We want them to retain what they've learned. We want them to be able to regurgitate what they've learned at the drop of a hat. Not, oh my God, I have to go and review this again. I studied it last time. No, it all depends on how you study. If you study to learn, not study to memorize. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's a difference there. When you learn something, you don't lose it. When you memorize something, you lose it. So we have to teach these kids, these young adults, how to learn, how to study, not how to memorize. Memorization is for taking tests, taking for exams, Learning and maintaining what's learned has impact in later years. You can always recall those things that you learned. It's more practical. And it makes sense as opposed to just memorizing like you're memorizing poetry, which you have to remind yourself of, oh, what I used to know that poem, but I don't know it anymore. And then you have to find that poem and rememorize it. No. So actual learning is one of the things that we want to teach these young adult women, because they get rid, many of them, by God's grace, may be going to college. They may be going to college. Okay, and if they know how to learn, it doesn't matter what your parents' bank account is. Doesn't matter if you live in the IDPS. If you know how to learn, you can win college entrance. You can pass college entrance exams and possibly get scholarships. That's the difference between rote learners and actual learners. Those people who know what they learned and they can regurgitate it properly, they tend to perform well in written exams and things of that nature. So we're going to be working with the young adult women how to do those things. And like you said earlier, we are going to be talking about starting businesses. That is the alternative to prostitution. Mm-hmm. Everybody has talent.
Yeah.
Everybody has talent. Your talent, if applied properly, can actually become something you can use to sustain yourself. If here in America, I talk to lots of parents and I let them know, don't focus so much on what your child cannot do. Focus on what they can do. What are their skill sets? Okay. Because if you build them up on what they do, right, they're excited about learning. But if their learning constitutes focuses on what they can't do, it becomes cumbersome, it becomes annoying, it becomes wasteful, and they don't want to learn. So I say, in Igbo language, we say, oh yeah, I didn't know. If you're not good in one thing, you're good in another. It's always something that you're good in. And that's what we want to let young people know. There is always something you're good in. And perhaps the focus should be, when you're trying to teach somebody mathematics, let me just say that, but their interest is in art, okay? They're interested in painting, but you're not interested in the fact that they have that skill set, that they can paint, right? But all you're interested in is, do they know mathematics? right?
Mm.
That becomes a problem in the learning, in their ability to learn, because it's punitive. Learning becomes punitive. All right. They're punished for those things that they don't know, but they're not reinforced for those things that they have the skill sets for. Okay. Are you with me? I think you have frozen.
Yes.
You're still with me?
Huh?
I see. Okay, there you go. Okay. So I like the idea of teaching them part of the cottage industry. Even a kid, I will tell you, even somebody who likes insects, for instance, if they love insects with a passion, then zoology, or anything that has to do with animal kingdom may be something that they'll be good at because they're interested in it. They have a passion for it. Maybe mathematics is not their thing. Maybe physics is not their thing. Maybe chemistry is not their thing. But if you teach them chemistry and all of that, but then you also support those areas that they are powerful in, then learning becomes an adventure. Learning becomes fun. Learning is not punitive. So we just want to teach those kids, these young people, how to find those things that they're interested in and make those things part of what their lives journey will be about. Their focus, their learning, their future careers may focus on. What are your thoughts on that? What do you think about that? Are you with me?
Can hear you.
Okay. What do you think about that?
Yes, I am, but I can't hear you.
You didn't hear what I said?
No.
No, I was talking about okay, this thing is really not anyway. So she's having a little bit of difficulty. I don't know if she's the one having difficulty or is this on my end here. But anyway, to make a long story short, what we're talking about is having workshops that encourage young people to find their place in the world, find what they are excited about, and use what they're excited about to create a career for themselves. Often this whole a concept of teaching math, physics, chemistry, all those things as foundations for success. Well, it may be foundation for success if your interest is in the sciences. But if your interest is not in the sciences, it may not necessarily be where you want to be. So we need to find what our children are excited about, what they're interested in, and they can actually start cottage industries with that sort of thing. These young people need people to care for them. When I was in Nigeria, I had a session with God, I don't know how many, maybe about 200 young people. I mean, they were fighting to come into the room. They were fighting to come into the room. I mean, at one point, it was completely out of control. And they were fighting to come into the room where I was. And I'm telling you very honestly, it was sad that many young kids are not hearing what they should be hearing about what the possibilities are for them. I'm telling you, that was an eye-opener for me. This was in Omaha. This one is in Omaha, in Abia State, where I had many. It was standing room only. These kids wanted to hear. They wanted to learn. They were so attentive. I'm telling you, if a pin dropped, you could have heard it. They just want to learn. So our young people want to learn. They want to hear what are the alternatives. What should they be doing? When you're not telling them that, that's how they resort to anything, by any means necessary. That's why a lot of them leave the country to find greener pastures somewhere else. But we've got the capacity. We've got the capacity to talk to them. We've got the capacity to direct them so that they know that right where they are, they can make something of themselves. And at the same time, we can be working with the government to some degree to let them know the importance of making way for these kids, making a way for them. You can't tell people, particularly young people, who are very impressionable. You can't tell them you want them to act a certain way when you don't show them what, you don't show them how, you don't give them the option. Of course, they're going to do what
Yes,
they know.
it's
You know what I'm
true.
saying? They're going to
It's
do what
true.
they know. So the workshop, AGAP, is going to be chock full of information for young people. And we're also going to talk about how we can help them. For those who don't have the financial means, how we can help them. I'm so excited about the Cheese University. A lot of our young people can learn about self-confidence and how the possibility is boundless, endless for them. So I'm just going to take a minute and play a video about Cheese University, which is an alternative university that can really help to build self-esteem and support all those young people who are trying to make a name for themselves, try to build something, working with who they are and what they are. So we'll take a moment.
A person's health and well-being go beyond physical health. Good mental health is the energy for the body to function properly in the absence of disease. Spiritual beliefs powers mental health. Spiritual beliefs that are based on individual and collective values are culturally diverse, and each is good for the mind. Education does not incorporate the culture of a people, renders the students glorified servants and educational vineyards of the other cultures. Cheese Mahadum, or university, has come to raise spiritual culture as the foundation for effective academic achievement that will render graduates the stalwarts of African culture mindset and become the change agents in African society. A mandate for both creating relevant economic opulence and development of African-centered nation formation and building. Join our department deans as they share exciting benefits attending this African-centered university.
Problems that young people have, particularly young African children, is self-esteem. Many of them have very self-esteem, and because of the low self-esteem, they're very gullible. You can feed them anything. See, when people are desperate for something, when they're desperate to learn something, anything you put in their heads, anything you feed them, sometimes takes hold, but it's not always for their own good. So we are going to be working very hard to ensure that these young people, particularly those that are in the African community, learn about who they are, the relevance of their existence, the people, their ancestral cultures, and those things. It doesn't mean when you learn about your culture, it doesn't mean that you don't embrace other cultures. It doesn't mean that you don't learn about other people. It's a global world, so obviously we have to learn about other people. So we're not saying that you cannot learn about other people. We're just saying that the mirror is the mirror that you look into every day. The image that comes back to you is you. And you need to appreciate that image. Part of your learning is self-esteem building, learning to appreciate yourself where you are. So I'm so excited about that organization and what it's trying to do. And so the AGAP program is going to be phenomenal. It's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be very, very enriching for girls. Let me ask you, as we begin, as we're winding down, what would you think? What would you say if a young person is attending an AGAP workshop? What would you say to them? When you come here, you are going to learn what? In one word. In one word. Without too much color, without too much talk, what would you learn? If you put everything all in a nutshell, it's going to be self-pride. Self-pride. Because you have to have self-pride to keep yourself clean. You have to have pride in yourself to be a clean human being, because you care how people see you. You don't want people smelling you. That's one thing you will learn here. You're going to learn how to learn. If you don't know how to learn, AGAP will teach you how to learn as a girl. You're going to learn to speak for yourself and make decisions that are good for you, and not allow other people to make decisions for you, not allow people to define you, what you're going to do and what you're not going to do. When you attend an AGAP conference, you are not going to let people shoot on you. You know what it is to shoot on you? You should do this, you should do that. See, people who care about you should not be shooting on you, if I may use that expression. That's one of the benefits of attending an AGAP workshop. You're going to learn, and not only that, we're going to make accessible to you what you need. You know, it seems like we're talking too much about periods, but that is so important in a girl's life.
Very.
So you attend an AGAP.
Very important. Yes.
You are going to learn. You're going to learn about the significance of that in your life. How to be careful, because if you're engaged in premarital sex, you can get pregnant. Some people don't know that. Some kids don't know that engaging in sexual activity will produce babies. Some kids don't know that. So
and
it's
if
important for them.
if it produces babies and they're going to school, it's going to stop them from going to school because they have to sit back to take care of that baby.
Yes. And that young man that's trying to convince you to go to bed with him, you know, he's not the one that's going to be walking around here with that baby. You are.
It's not. And
So
sometimes in most cases, the man denies it. Yes.
It's not theirs. In the meantime, you are stuck with a child, and you're a child yourself. You see. So anyway, what is so excited? We are so excited about the AGAP program. And if you want to know a little bit more, please go to drosimiri.org. .com. www.drosimiri.com. And you will learn a little bit more about this program. It's getting started. We have set up some workshops very soon that's going to happen at the IDPS camps, and we're going to have it all throughout Nigeria. And we're talking about doing AGAP here in the United States as well. So it's going to be all around very good for young girls. All right. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, Chioma. Last minute, I just called you last minute to join me, and here you are. I'm so very proud of you and grateful that you could join us. Unfortunately, the national director, Zainab Ahmed, she was traveling to Maiduguri, so she's probably still stuck on the road and not able to join us today. But I think we had a nice conversation, and thank you for your input. Nice. Thank you for those. And we're looking forward to another exciting. I have a very exciting event because I have some special guests on Saturday, and that information will be posted. Everybody will have access to it. Again, Chioma, thank you. And congratulations for becoming the vice president of the African Women Mobilization.
Thank you.
So welcome. Until next Saturday, everybody, please take care of yourselves. All right?
Okay.
So it is.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.